Sometimes returning to the same location can be boring, but sometimes it's necessary. I thought I'd come down this morning. It's a composition that I captured a long time ago, or tried to capture, and it just never really came out. And I thought, you know, I could really make a better composition of this. So I thought I'd come down this morning and give that a shot. Now, the sky predictions are not great. In fact, the predictions are okay at best. I see medium clouds in the forecast, but it looks like there's some high clouds too. And if so, I think they might light up. But and for this composition to work, they're going to have to light up. So I need the light. I need the reflective light on the water. I need the light to kind of color the foreground to make this work. So it's a distant background, but with the right clouds, I think I could pull this off. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. So we'll see. We'll see. So I have a Nikon FE, and I'm going to experiment this morning with some black and white. I've got some Ilford FP4, and I think that might really give me some good contrast in my foreground and background, provided I have some cloud coverage. But yeah, I'm kind of looking for a deeper, kind of a darker sky, and a lot of contrast between the water and the rocks. So we'll see how that comes out. First, I got to get a decent composition lined up. Well, I captured a couple images. I really shot to the hyperfocal distance. In this case, shooting to about 12 feet gives me everything from half of that hyperfocal distance, 6 feet, to infinity in acceptable sharpness. Now, acceptable sharpness, that's debatable, but you know, as I always say on an 8x10 print, standing about 3-4 feet away from it, it looks pretty sharp all the way through. But you can focus stack. There's nothing wrong with focus stacking. So yeah, digital images are cheap. But anyway, I really didn't get that light I was looking for, but it's never over till it's over. So I'm gonna hang out and see if this second light that comes in when the sky kind of gets up on that horizon, if we turn to a golden color here. So maybe we'll get lucky and capture that, but I don't think so. I think I've gotten the best light I can. I think you're faced with many obstacles in a situation like this, and I think there's a lot to landscape photography and compositions, and kind of breaking that down in a very small time frame. You don't have a lot of time to really think this through. So when you're on a scene like this, you have to kind of get set up, think about, where's my cloud coverage at? Where's my horizon going to be? And thinking about rule of thirds and just composition in general, and where you want things to fall out, balance in your image. There's a lot that goes into that, and that's why I'll always advocate for coming to a scene early and giving yourself as much time to kind of plan that out as you can. But the light changes, conditions change, bugs roll in, and all kinds of things. So you have to think quickly in order to make it happen. So another thing that was a consideration was the motion blur in the water, and just how much of that I wanted, and depth of field. So it was kind of a balance between maybe a 4 or 6 second exposure. So I really probably I would have liked to have not. I mean, the water's calm, but I really wasn't looking for that placid look this morning. I wanted some texture in the water, so I really needed to bump up my ISO, and I didn't. I made a decision there in a split second to kind of smooth out the water, so I went with a longer shutter speed. But I didn't have the light I was looking for anyway, so I'm gonna have to come back. But I think there's a lot to planning out a composition, though, and certainly a lot to think about quickly. Well, I like the clouds. The texture in the clouds is fantastic. A little pastel sky almost works, but not quite. I really wanted that punchy sky this morning. A lot more contrast and a lot more color. So, but speaking of color, I did bring my Nikon FE, and I think I'm going to throw that on the tripod and see if I can capture a little contrasty image. So I've got some Ilford FP4 that I'm going to shoot, and that should provide me enough contrast in the image to maybe get what I'm looking for only in a black and white since I don't have the color that I need this morning. So let's give that a shot. I got a 24 millimeter lens on here and looking to shoot at about f8. So I don't know if that's going to do for my image. And take a look. So best thing to do is get off the tripod and realign my composition. Yeah, I'm really having a lot of trouble lining anything up with this 24 millimeter. I think I'm going to throw a 50 on there, see what I can get. Yeah, it's that color coming back. I may have to switch back. Yeah, I'm going to. I don't know, it's an okay sky, but it's just not quite what I was looking for. And my composition is lacking, I believe, so yeah. You know, I know I say it's all about the composition, but of course, it truly is all about the composition, but there's so much that goes into a composition and getting everything aligned. It's a bit like playing Sudoku. I don't know if you ever played Sudoku, but yeah. Can be challenging, but yeah, I would say photography is much like a puzzle, and you have to put the pieces together. And if you get them together right, your image looks pretty good. If you kind of bang them in there and you know, kind of cut them and trim them to make them fit, your puzzle looks you know, comes out looking not too good. So, but you know, I think we spend a lot of time talking about gear and not enough time talking about composition and the actual art of photography. And so I thought I'd mention that this morning, that, you know, aligning a composition is a complicated thing, and a lot goes into it. And I mean, a lot goes into selecting our gear too, but really and truly, yeah, we spend too much time thinking about gear. And I mean, any camera will capture this image, but if I can make this image really pleasing and align all the elements of the composition and just, you know, kind of bring that vision that I have out to reality into a photograph. Yeah, I think that's the real art of it. Not so much the gear, but you know, gear is fun. I like gear too, but I also like composition, and I also like the art of photography. You know, this is where the depth of field preview button comes in handy on an SLR. Now, I don't use it on a DSLR. On an SLR, it's a handy tool. It really gives you a good idea of your depth of field. So with a 50 millimeter lens, you know, my focus here is going to be, you know, pretty far out. I can focus on the background or the foreground, but I can't get everything sharp. I'm going to capture two images here, one of the foreground, one of the background, and then maybe I can choose and see which one I like better. But I have these scanned at very large size, and I could bring these into Photoshop and just kind of brush in the foreground. But I don't know, I've never really done that with film before, so I don't know if I do that or not. I think I just kind of like the nostalgic feeling of film, and I don't want to Photoshop it, you know? So, I don't know, but I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that. So 1/30th. At f11. Focusing to infinity. Capture that one. And then one focusing on the foreground. All manual. Well, we'll see how that comes out. It'll be a couple weeks. I just started this roll of 36, so you're not going to see those on this video, but I'll show them in a later video. I know. Well, that's it. A couple images in the bag. Not the best light, but okay composition. But remember, landscape photography is more than just coming out and capturing images. It's about having a great time and enjoying yourself. I certainly did that this morning. Anyway, that's it. I guess I'll go ahead and get out of here. But hey, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought. And as always, if I don't see you down the road, maybe I'll see you on the trail. Well, the lesson learned for me is truly to never underestimate what you've captured in the field, because you truly don't know until you get back in post-processing. And I was able to bring out the colors and bring out the subtleties in the image that I really liked when I was in the field. I think if you could recreate that scene and bring back that moment, those feelings that you had when you were there at the scene, I think you've done well.